Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, David Riggleman, Communications Director for the City of Las Vegas. Coming up on this show, a new business opens its doors in Ward 1, and we tell you how the city is helping those hit hardest by the coronavirus pandemic. The councilman who represents Ward 1, of course, is Brian Knudsen. He joins me now. Councilman, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, David. Appreciate it.
It's good to see you again. It's we're socially distanced, as you can see here, because that's what we do now in 2020. It's just... I'm still not quite used to it, but I guess
you better get used to it pretty quick, David. This is it for a little while. So we have our masks.
I know you're very
good. We socially distance. We wash our hands. And we keep safe.
I know it's. I keep thinking someday this is going to end. Hopefully sooner than later, but we're doing our part here for sure. Councilman, lots going on in Ward 1. It's an exciting show today. A lot of really good things to talk about. Yeah. First of all, if you're not exactly sure where Ward 1 is located, well, have no fear. Ward 1 is right in the center of the city of Las Vegas, really in the center of the valley. It's where Las Vegas started. It's where the springs were located that brought everybody here to Las Vegas in the first place. But our downtown area is in Ward 1, or really just to the west of the downtown there. If you live in that area, work in that area, then you are in the city limits of the city of Las Vegas. You're represented by Brian Knudsen on the city council. And you've been on the council for about a little over a year now, right?
A little over a year. Yeah.
It's been an easy year. Nothing going on. Kind of routine.
The first 6 months were great. The last 6 months have been a bit challenging, but we're adjusting and we're making headway, I think.
Yeah, it has been a bit challenging to say the least. Councilman Knudsen, Brian, is a former city staff member, so he had the advantage of kind of knowing how things worked around here to begin with, so really helped you hit the ground running as a city council member. You were able to get a lot done because you knew how things worked, and that was a huge advantage, I think.
And it's been great coming back. I love the city of Las Vegas. This is definitely home for me, so I'm grateful to be here.
A lot of good things going on in Ward 1. I have to tell everybody, all we hear about is just a lot of bad news, especially economically these days. But hey, you tweeted this and this was exciting. Had the wonderful opportunity joining Shoppers World USA for their grand opening ribbon cutting in Ward 1. Now, this took place back on July 2nd. And a business opening in a pandemic is exciting news. It really is.
And David, there was at least a couple hundred people in line, socially distanced, spread across almost all the way across the shopping center, waiting to get there. It's a discount store. It's in the place where Toys R Us used to be, if you're familiar with the area, right next to the Meadows Mall on Meadows Lane. So we welcome them. They also were a recipient of an RDA grant, a Redevelopment Authority grant, to help with some of their signage. And so it's their first store in Las Vegas. I think they plan on opening several more, so we're happy to have them in the ward, and they are going to do very, very well there, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, good business people that can move ahead in light of everything that we've been facing. Again, it's a discount store, Councilman. That type of product there, and so good.
It's a great place for that. And David, I said this in our Facebook Live. I think Ward 1 is going to be the heart of new business in the Valley, primarily because of the medical district. And so the Planning Commission approved the medical school building at the last Planning Commission meeting.
It sure did.
The medical school will break ground in the next couple of months. I think that will spur on significant development in the area. I'm already talking to many of the developers who are looking at what they can build in the area to support the medical school and its beginnings. So
it's wonderful.
I'm excited.
A lot of jobs, too, will be created from that construction as well. If you're not familiar, the medical school, the UNLV Medical School, is going to be located right across the street from Valley Hospital on Meadows Lane. It's where the old health district facility used to be located, and that's where the medical school will rise up out of the ground.
That's right.
It's exciting stuff. Councilman, you also tweeted this. I thought this was great. This morning, Team Knudsen joined residents in Ward 1 for a morning park cleanup at Bill Breer Park. And we love volunteers, especially in light of everything going on. Look at that army of people out there helping clean up the park. They all got their masks on. And thanks everybody for getting out and helping keep your park clean.
And it's a great way to connect with me. And so a lot of the people that came out are people who frequently are calling or texting or emailing about issues or challenges they have in their neighborhood. That is the very best way to get response from the city of Las Vegas, is to have a good, healthy, positive relationship with a council member. And so I appreciate all the residents who came out and helped us clean up Bill Breer Park. And I liked it so much that we're planning on doing that in every park in Ward 1. And so if you are by a park or near a park and you want to help get engaged, feel free to email me or call me, because we're going to start setting up events over the next year for every park in the
That's really
in
great.
Ward 1. It's
That's
not
really
just
great.
about the cleaning itself. It's about connecting with nature, connecting with Las Vegas, connecting with your residents. And it's great for me to kind of have some face-to-face with a mask contact with the residents of
Yeah,
Ward 1.
Right, exactly. Well, that's a nice undertaking, ambitious undertaking. Do a cleanup in all the parks within the ward. You know, so much we hear right now is about division and negativity, and no one likes each other, and far from the truth. Obviously, when you get everybody out there working together, nothing says community more than that.
I like everybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We all want to enjoy parks. We all want to get back to business. We all want to put the COVID behind us. We all share that. And so there's lots of things we can focus on, and that's where I choose to spend most of my time.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. It's and again, thanks to all the volunteers. If you'd like to be a part, we'll have this on the city's website, lasvegasnevada.gov. And of course, it'll be on the Ward 1 page. We'll keep you posted on all the upcoming cleanups. So we'll talk about it on this show as well. So good stuff. And Councilman, you also tweeted this out. Team Knudsen had a great time meeting with Ward 1 neighbors at the City of Las Vegas Garside Pool. Now again, everybody has got their masks on, as you can see there. And is that your family there in the picture as well?
My son. I've been bringing Andrew out to the park cleanups and to the pool opening because I'm trying to socially acclimate him to people again because he's been in the house for so long.
Yeah, I know.
He has no issues at all wearing a mask. Neither does Kate. At 2 years old, can wear a mask. Andrew wears a mask. They kind of enjoy it now. Kate has a little tie-dye one. Andrew has a cool bandana one. So they're totally into that, but I wanted to get them used to being around people again. So Andrew helped in the park cleanup and ate a bunch of the donuts, which was great. And Andrew came and we gave all the kids coming into the pool, we gave them chalk and bubbles and sunscreen. And so Andrew was responsible for giving everyone little packages of chalk and sunscreen and bubbles to all the kids. And so the second he finished, he ran and jumped right in the pool with everybody else. We had a great time, and it was a really good day. And that's a great facility. We have really great city staff that manage it.
Really is. That took place back on July 25th. It was really hot. Yeah,
it was very hot outside.
Summer, yeah. So having that pool open and a chance to get a cool dip was much appreciated.
And it's safe too, because they do temperature checks before you get in.
I was going to say.
They only allow 50% capacity. You wear your mask unless you're actually swimming. And so it's a safe place, and children need a place to get some of that energy out. And as being a parent, parents need a place for their kids to get energy out. So it was a great time.
No question about that. So a lot of great city facilities. Still time to enjoy them. We still got some summer left here. I know kids are getting ready to go back to school in some form or fashion, but those facilities are going to remain open for a little bit longer.
That's right,
so,
yeah.
Good stuff. You tweeted this too. Had a great time chatting with the Vegas Black Business Chamber of Commerce to talk about city resources, our work for Ward 1, and more. And there you are in the virtual discussion right there. So what were you guys talking about? Opportunities for business within the ward? Is that kind of what the focus was for you?
So there was three main focuses. One is, what is the city doing to help small businesses restart? And so we can talk about the business preparedness grants that the city offered. We're now in our second round of $4 million each, and Ward 1 has more businesses that have participated in that than anywhere else in the city of Las Vegas. So this is one way that Ward 1 is reaching out to the business community, is to say, we're here at the City of Las Vegas, we're here to help. The second thing we talked about is what's going on in the medical district. So 6 weeks or so ago, we rezoned most of the medical district to be in form-based code, which will encourage or incent for future development, which will increase density and increase amenities. We also, as the City Council, waived a lot of the fees for taverns in the medical district in the downtown overlay. And so I wanted to communicate that clearly with members of the Black Business Chamber. One of the interesting things that came up is they talked about children going back to school or not going back to school in person but virtually, and how do people actually get supplies to the parents. And so it's been a really interesting challenge that we're trying to work through at the city and at the state, is in addition to technology, how do you get supplies to parents who may not have access to supplies?
Yeah, it's tough.
It's a tough situation. So this is how I think we should go forward, as at least in my role, is listening to as many people as I can. So any other people who are watching this, let's organize these Zoom calls. Let's get together and brainstorm how we can best meet the needs of our community, whether it be business or children or anything in general.
One of your colleagues, Olivia Diaz, Councilwoman Olivia Diaz, had kind of a drive-through back-to-school fair where she gave supplies as people drove through. And you know, it's not exactly the most ideal way to have to do it, but it's the way we're rolling these days. So and so that was one way around. You know, how do you get these supplies to the parents who need them? So
and children don't mind. Children will acclimate. They'll be totally fine. They'll learn. They'll grow. They'll be healthy adults. It's adults that struggle a little bit. You can see it's playing out in the media. We struggle with change, but children are fine. They'll totally get used to it.
That's so true. That is very, very true. And then as far as the medical district, Councilman, you mentioned this. You said form-based code. Can you kind of enlighten the viewers on what form-based code means versus traditional zoning?
Yeah, so it's mostly about the aesthetics of the aesthetics of the building that's going to go in. It's not so much about what goes inside the building. It's making sure that we have enough walking paths, we have biking paths, and the buildings that are going to abut Charleston and in the medical district are conducive to a healthy walking environment. It also allows for increased height. So in the Charleston corridor, it goes anywhere between 3 and 5 stories so that we can have businesses on the bottom and residences on top. The goal is to allow for greater density in the community. We need to build up a little bit. And we want to make sure that the density is appropriate. And so form-based code kind of helps put that all in place so that businesses can come in, residences can come in, and we can offer more amenities for the medical district.
Yeah, and kind of make all that
look good.
Yeah,
it's got to look good.
And dovetail, exactly. Yeah. Because in traditional zoning, it's like businesses are here, residents are here, everything is kind of laid out that way. But in form-based code, you have the opportunity to blend a little bit, like you're talking about, business on the bottom, residents on top, that kind of thing. So.
And we're the valley, I think, is growing by another 500,000 people in the next decade.
Yeah.
I think coronavirus may increase that actually pretty significantly. We're going to have a lot of people in Southern Nevada, in Las Vegas, and we want to make sure that we create an environment that is healthy for everyone. We don't want to stack people on top of each other. We want to make it a healthy walking, working, living, playing environment. Form-based code helps to facilitate that.
It's going to be an exciting area over there. Councilman, give everybody a time frame about the medical school, where we are, and about how long it'll be before construction is completed.
So I think the groundbreaking for the medical school will probably be October, November time frame. COVID hasn't slowed that down at all. It's going forward. They anticipate it'll take anywhere between 18 and 24 months for the medical school to go in. Viewers may be aware there's also an apartment complex that's planned right near Meadows Mall, right on the vacant land between Shoppers World now and the Meadows Mall. And so I think in the medical district we're going to see a considerable amount of development as it relates to the medical school. They're also going to see a significant amount of construction on the Charleston corridor between the 15 and Rancho, and the Rancho corridor between Mesquite Avenue, which is where the 95 is, and Sahara Avenue. So that whole area is going to have a major facelift over the next 2 to 3 years.
That's exciting, really exciting things. You know, Councilman, tell everybody too, I think this is interesting. This is something that's near and dear to you, because prior to being on the city council, you were also on the selection committee for the UNLV Medical School. So now you're overseeing the medical district. Before even being on the city council, though, you had skin in the game when it came to making sure the medical school was going to be successful.
Yeah, and that was one of my favorite experiences, is actually kind of seeing who the students were coming in. Now on the back end, working with not only the dean of the School of Medicine, but the nursing school dean, the dentistry school dean, and the public health dean, occupational health dean, talking to all of them about what their students will want to see in the area. We're going to be working with Applied Analysis on surveying the students and the employees in the medical district to ask them what exactly would be the best environment for them to learn, grow, play, and live. And we're going to be rolling that out over the next month or so. And that'll help inform, one, how the city moves forward with development, but two, what kind of development is going to be best in that area. We want to make sure developers come in prepared and ready to get to work immediately.
It's an exciting time, it really is. When we've seen a lot of anything but as this year has progressed. So.
If I can find opportunity, I'm going to find opportunity. I'm not going to wallow. I'm not going to wallow. I'm going to get to work. There's a lot of things we can do right now.
Obviously the case. Good job there. And Council, want to remind everybody, hey, it's still not too late to make sure you've been counted in the census. This is really, really critical to our state, isn't it?
The most important thing anybody can do next to voting is, from a civic engagement standpoint, get counted. So it takes approximately 10 minutes. It actually took us about a minute and a half, but 10 minutes if you want to take your time. 10 minutes is tens of thousands of dollars for every single person that gets counted in Nevada. And we have a friendly wager going with Councilman Reese up in Reno that Las Vegas will beat Reno. We are doing everything we can to make sure we win, because I don't want to wear a UNR shirt at a city council meeting. I'd much rather wear a UNLV shirt at a city council meeting and have Councilman Reese wear a UNLV shirt as well.
The wager is what community is going to have the highest percentage of participation. And at last count, we were ahead by like
0.1%.
Yeah, that's not much.
So if you're watching and you haven't filled out your census, now is the time to do it. It's 2020census.gov. You should log on and do it. It's your part in making sure Nevada brings back their fair share of federal dollars.
Every dime of federal dollar is based on the census. We get an allocation based on the number of people. Census is only done every 10 years, so whatever we do this time is gonna speak for the next 10 years. Of course, it also determines representation in Congress. I think we're all familiar with that. But the federal funding side of it is what I think people sometimes miss the connection on, and why it's so vitally important. When you fill out your census form, it's confidential. In fact, it's sealed for 72 years. No one's going to share that information with anyone for 72 years. So no police officials, immigration officials, but it's important that every single person in the state get counted.
It's schools, it's roads, it's public safety, it's everything that's important to you has some tie to federal funding. It is the most important thing you can do is to fill out that census.
If you have not done it already, you can do it online, 2020census.gov. If you haven't done it, the Census Bureau will also reach out to you with a census taker, but it's very simple to go online and complete it. And as Councilman Knudsen said, it just takes literally
a minute and a
minutes.
half. Yeah.
It's so simple, exactly. And again, the information is going to be sealed for 72 years.
Yes.
So I think you don't have to worry about people getting in your business in the meantime.
Not at all, no.
Right? So, all right. Well, Councilman, we need to take a short break, but when we return, find out about assistance programs to help keep you in your home during the pandemic. That's next, so please stay with us.
They'll test you, try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Welcome back, everyone. So many in our community are struggling due to COVID-19. With us today to talk about some of the city's programs designed to help those in need is our Community Services Director, Kathy Thomas Gibson. Kathy, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Councilman, I know this is near and dear to you because there are a lot of people out there who have just run into brick walls when it comes to trying to find some kind of help, especially to pay rent, to pay their mortgage, during all of this.
This is tough, David. There's no getting around it. This is a very tough time right now. And about 2 months ago, we did a texting town hall. We interacted with thousands of people, and there's a lot of desperation in our community. There has always been desperation in our community for people struggling with poverty, but right now it's incredibly intense. We have a team at this city that's amazing and working with a lot of people in our community to help them stay on their feet, stay afloat, so they don't end up going into poverty and homelessness. And we have an amazing leader at the city, Kathy Thomas Gibson, that's on the other side of the room. Socially distanced over here, so if I'm pointing on TV, it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense if you're here.
Exactly. She's socially distanced from us, but Kathy, always a pleasure to have you on the program. Kathy, I know that people have struggled. One of the big issues is that unemployment benefits have really been slow to get to people. Dieter has really struggled to try to fix an aging computer system and bring people relief. In the meantime, though, the city, your department has really stepped up to try to offer the assistance that we can through the city, right?
That is correct. Thank you for having me, by the way. So one of the things we want to be sure all of our constituents know is don't panic. A landlord cannot evict you by sticking a notice on your door. If you get that notice, you have some remedy. So we've started internally, we started a housing assistance program using some of the corona relief virus dollars that we got from the federal government. And folks can come to the city's website, lasvegasnevada.gov/residents, to get information specifically about that program. We worked with Clark County and the state of Nevada so that all of the programs would align. In other words, similar criteria for people to qualify for them, so that wherever you end up, wherever you land, you wouldn't have to apply to 3 or 4 different programs. You could simply go to one program and get assistance. All of the programs are providing up to 3 months to cover arrears, and we cover both rent and mortgage, because we have a number of working families who are not cash rich, but they do have that one asset of their home, and we'd like to help them stay in their home. So these programs cover both rental assistance and mortgage assistance. And we're really looking at working class families who are still trying to stay put. In addition to that, we've been providing a lot of legal information. Remember that eviction is a legal process. And that means that a judge has to make a determination about whether or not you can legally be evicted. So that's why we tell folks, don't panic. If you come to our website, we do have contacts for Nevada Legal Services, and they are helping tenants explore what their legal rights are and to work with landlords in order to stay put. We're also referring people to Clark County's Neighborhood Assistance, where they have tenant-landlord mediation programs, because you owe the rent. And so we really want you to work not as an adversary, but as a partner with the landlord to negotiate repayment programs, to think through what some of the options are. Remember, landlords often have a mortgage to pay to a bank. And so it's not that they aren't being impacted by this, just like tenants who rent. They're being impacted perhaps differently. So we really encourage people to have conversations and explore the resources before they panic and vacate the unit.
Kathy, let me ask you, that's really wonderful information all the way around, but who can qualify? Is it anyone who has been laid off from their job, or how do you qualify for the rental or the mortgage assistance?
That's correct. So anyone who's been financially impacted by COVID-19. So that could be that your job cut your hours back, or that you have not yet received your unemployment benefits because you were actually laid off. And so applicants do have to demonstrate that they've had a financial impact from COVID-19. I also want to point out to folks that that could be that a partner who's paying child support payments hasn't been able to pay those child support payments, and that's impacted you. So think pretty broadly. You may have several sources of income that have been impacted in different ways because of COVID-19. We encourage people to apply anyway. Don't screen yourself out. Go ahead and apply, and we'll help you figure out what you're eligible to receive.
Those are great points, Kathy. Councilman, let me ask you, you've had a lot of dialogue with your constituents. You mentioned a lot of people are really concerned, struggling right now, worried. Yeah. What are you hearing primarily from your constituents when it comes to needing the assistance?
I think it comes from a variety of different places. The first is unemployment and getting unemployment from the state. That is by far the biggest concern. The second is fear of eviction. So the manner in which Kathy talked about, don't panic. There is help out there. No one needs to be evicted right now. We need to work through, as a community, as a state, the best way to keep people in their homes, because going on the street is not in anyone's best interest. So those are the two issues. It's unemployment and the fear of being evicted. If we can quiet and calm the fears of eviction, then we need to just work with the state on making sure people get the unemployment that is owed to them.
Excellent. And Kathy, from your perspective, exactly, don't panic. Make sure that you reach out. Again, you mentioned the city's website. Is the application process complex? Is it relatively simple? Tell the viewers out there what they need to be able to provide to qualify for the help.
We've intentionally tried to keep it very, very simple so that it's one pager to collect some basic information. And then applicants are able to upload documents. So it could be the letter stating your hours have been cut, or a copy of your pink slip, those kinds of things that demonstrate that you've actually had an issue. If you have difficulty uploading or you don't have access to the technology to do so, you can actually call our office, 702-229-2330, and someone will walk you through that over the phone. We have set up meetings at some of our recreation centers out in the community because everyone does not have access to the technology needed to upload documents. We want to remove those barriers so that individuals who are eligible to apply don't have to be tech savvy in order to do that.
Yeah. Kathy, about how many people have applied, do you think, at this point, roughly?
For our portal, we've had about 6,000 applicants.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are concerned that we will not be able to support everyone that needs assistance. So we also are referring constituents to Clark County's program, helphome.org, because the county also receives federal dollars. And so we are having applicants, what we would call oversubscribers, to access through that portal as well. You don't have to apply to both portals. Just go through one portal. We'll get you connected to the appropriate place.
Kathy Thomas Gibson, thank you so much. I think the moral of the story, don't wait, Councilman. If you have not applied and you need the help, don't wait, because as Kathy was saying, we may not be able to help everyone. So don't hesitate if you are in that boat. So
And don't panic.
And don't panic, panic. But take care of that. Reach out to us and let's get your paperwork going. So, Kathy, thank you so much for being with us. Always a pleasure. Councilman, thank you. I want to tell everybody out there, hey, we always want to hear from you. So if there's something you'd like to share with Councilman Knudsen, you can always find him on Facebook and Twitter. You can also contact the councilman just by picking up the phone. We still have those around here, 702-229-6405, or send an email to him. His address is bknudsen@lasvegasnevada.gov. He has a great staff, too. They'll get right back to you. So, super job. We'll see you back here in 6 weeks with another update from Ward 1.
Thank you very much, David. I really appreciate it.
Right,
and thank you, Kathy.
All right, well done to you both. Don't miss our next show beginning on August 20th with Ward 3 City Councilwoman Olivia Diaz. You can now catch all of our KCLV shows on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget, you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. Thanks for joining us, everyone, for this edition of Access City Council. We'll see you next time around. Please stay safe in the meantime.